The universe whispers secrets to those who dare to listen, not in hushed tones, but in the deafening silence of a night sky, or the impossible geometry of a galaxy spiraling into being. It's a language of scale, of audacity, of unrelenting forward momentum. And most people, they never learn to speak it. They never even try. They live in the comfortable hum of the ordinary, the predictable rhythm of the status quo. They see a world built by others, consumed by others, and believe that is their sole purpose, to consume, to exist within the walls of predefined possibility. But there are a few, a rare, unyielding few, who look at those walls and see not boundaries, but the first blueprint for a door, or better yet, a rocket. This isn't about mere ambition. Ambition is a spark. What we're talking about is the furnace, the kind of internal combustion that melts down the impossible and reforges it into the inevitable. It's the spirit of a mind that doesn't just ask why not, but rather why not everything. Think of the canvas of human potential. Most people paint within the lines, using muted colors, depicting scenes they've already witnessed. They replicate, they copy, they consume. But then there's the mind that sees the entire canvas as a blank, infinite expanse. A mind that refuses to be limited by gravity or financial markets or the collective doubt of billions. A mind that understands that the greatest wealth isn't measured in digits in an account, but in the sheer magnitude of what you create. Wealth, true wealth, is a byproduct of solving colossal problems. It's the exhaust fumes of innovation at hyperspeed. Look at the arc of human history. Who are the names etched into the bedrock of progress? Not the cautious, not the conformists, but the architects of the impossible. The ones who stared into the abyss of what could be and refused to blink. They built the railroads across continents, not because it was easy, but because the alternative was stagnation. They forged steel into skyscrapers that scraped the heavens, not because the materials were cheap, but because the vision was grander than any cost. And now, in our time, there are those who dream of making humanity a multiplanetary species, who stare at the fundamental inefficiencies of our energy grid and demand a revolution, who see the archaic systems of finance and rip them down to their very code. This is not a tale of a gifted few. It's a blueprint for anyone willing to unlock a specific kind of mindset. A mindset that sees the world not as a fixed reality, but as a vast, malleable lump of clay, waiting for a sculptor with relentless hands and an unyielding will. The journey begins not with a grand strategy, but with a fundamental shift in perception. Most people perceive risk as a brick wall. They see the potential for failure and recoil. They calculate odds based on what has been done. But the mind that builds exponential wealth, that creates true, lasting impact, sees risk differently. They see it as an unavoidable element of progress, a necessary friction. They understand that to truly innovate, you must dance on the edge of what's possible, where the air is thin and the ground is unstable. Consider the early days, the dot-com boom and bust, a graveyard of grand ambitions. But amidst the wreckage, A small, relentless team forged a new way to move money, digitally, instantly, across the globe. They faced established giants, regulatory nightmares, and the crushing weight of public skepticism. But they saw a fundamental need, a deeply inefficient system ripe for disruption. They weren't just building a company, they were building a new financial nervous system for the planet. That wasn't luck. That was a fanatical conviction in a better way, paired with the courage to tear down the old. And then the seemingly impossible, electric cars. For decades, a punchline, a novelty, a niche. But one mind saw not just a better car, but a fundamental shift in humanity's relationship with energy. They saw a future free from the chokehold of fossil fuels. They faced ridicule, bankruptcy scares, and the entrenched skepticism of an entire industry. They were told it couldn't be done, that the technology wasn't there, that the market wouldn't accept it. Yet they built, they iterated, they broke every rule. They didn't just design a car, they designed a movement. They didn't just build a factory, they built a temple to sustainable progress. This isn't about incremental gains, this is about quantum leaps. It's about looking at a problem and asking, what is the first principle here? What are the absolute foundational truths? And then, from those truths, rebuilding the entire concept from scratch. Deconstructing an industry, a product, a problem, down to its atomic elements, and then reassembling it in a way that shatters all previous limitations. This is the opposite of optimizing for a small percentage gain. This is about disrupting the very framework. It's about realizing that if you're going to dedicate your finite time and energy to something, it might as well be something so audacious, so impactful, that it reverberates through generations. Why build a better mousetrap when you can build a new ecosystem? The obsession, then, becomes not with wealth, but with solving the insolvable. Wealth is simply the scoreboard for the magnitude of the problem you've tackled. The deeper the problem, the more fundamental the solution, the greater the ripple effect, and the larger the reward. But the reward is never the primary driver. The primary driver is an unquenchable thirst for progress, a burning conviction that humanity can and must do better. This mindset demands uncomfortable sacrifices. It demands relentless hours that blur the lines between day and night, work and life. It demands the shedding of ego when confronted with brutal facts and engineering realities. It demands the courage to pivot, to admit when a direction is wrong, and to scrap years of work if a better path emerges. It demands a tolerance of pain that most people simply don't possess. Think of the nights spent on the factory floor, sleeping under a desk, debugging a problem that threatens to unravel the entire enterprise. Think of the public scrutiny, the constant barrage of critics, the media narratives that swing wildly from praise to condemnation. This is the crucible where true resilience is forged. It's not about avoiding hardship. It's about embracing it as an accelerant, understanding that every failure, every setback, every seemingly insurmountable obstacle is simply an opportunity to learn, to adapt, to become stronger, faster, more intelligent. Most people avoid pain. They optimize for comfort. They seek the path of least resistance. but the path to exponential creation is almost always the path of maximum resistance. It is the path where you are constantly pushing against the boundaries of what is known, what is accepted, what is comfortable. And in that struggle, in that friction, is where innovation explodes. The vision, then, becomes an unshakable North Star. It's not a vague aspiration. It's a detailed, vividly imagined future that pulls you forward, even when every fiber of your being wants to quit. It's the difference between saying, "I want to be rich," and saying, "I will build rockets that make life multiplanetary." One is a wish. The other is a declaration of intent that demands execution. This vision isn't born from a desire for personal glory, though that may be a consequence. It's born from a deep-seated belief in a better future for humanity. It's about contributing to the collective, pushing the boundaries of what we can achieve as a species. That's the engine. That's the true fuel for the relentless drive. When your purpose transcends your individual existence, your energy becomes boundless. Consider the audacity of aiming for Mars, not in 100 years, but now, in our lifetime. Think of the sheer volume of engineering, material science, and computational challenges that must be overcome. This isn't just about building a rocket. This is about redefining the limits of human ingenuity. It's about creating entirely new industries, new technologies, new possibilities that ripple outward, benefiting countless others in ways we can't even fully predict yet.
This is the essence of long-term vision. Most people operate on quarterly reports, on immediate gratification, on the next promotion. They optimize for the sprint, not the marathon. But the exponential builders, they see decades, even centuries ahead. They plant trees whose shade they may never sit under. They build foundations for structures that will outlive them. They understand that true wealth is not accumulated quickly. It is cultivated patiently, relentlessly, with an unwavering focus on a distant horizon. And what about self-belief? It's not a superficial confidence. It's a deep, almost irrational conviction in your ability to learn, to adapt, to overcome, even when the data, the experts, and the world around you tell you you're crazy. It's the inner voice that whispers, "If not me, who? If not now, when?" It's the belief that intelligence is not static, but a muscle that strengthens with every intellectual challenge you tackle. It's the understanding that setbacks are not indictments of your capability, but simply data points, opportunities to refine your approach. This isn't arrogance, it's a profound trust in your own capacity for growth. Execution, then, becomes a religious discipline. It's not about waiting for inspiration, it's about showing up every single day and doing the grueling, unglamorous work. It's about breaking down an impossible vision into 1,000 tiny, actionable steps and then relentlessly executing each one. It's about demanding excellence from yourself and from every single person on your team. It's about the intense focus required to eliminate distractions, to optimize every process, to squeeze every ounce of efficiency out of every moment. When you are building something truly monumental, there is no room for complacency. There is no room for half measures. There is only the unwavering pursuit of perfection, even if perfection is an ever-receding target.
because in that pursuit you achieve greatness. And failure? Failure is not the end. It is the feedback loop. It is the brutal, honest teacher. Most people fear failure so deeply that they never even begin. They stay in the safe harbor, never venturing into the stormy seas where true discovery happens. But the mind that builds exponential wealth embraces failure as an unavoidable, even desirable component of the learning process. Every rocket that explodes, every product recall, every financial crunch, these are not reasons to quit. They are lessons burned into the soul. They are data points that illuminate the path forward. They are the moments when you learn what truly breaks, what truly works, and how far you can truly push the boundaries. It is in the ashes of perceived failure that the strongest, most resilient solutions are forged.
This is not a game for the faint of heart. It is a full-contact sport with reality. You will be punched in the mouth. You will be knocked down. You will be told you are foolish, arrogant, and doomed. But if your vision is true, if your purpose is unwavering, and if your commitment to execution is absolute, you will find the strength to rise again, to learn, to adapt, and to press forward with even greater resolve. The legacy, then, is not about monuments or personal accolades. It's about the fundamental shift you leave behind. It's about the industries you've revolutionized, the problems you've solved for humanity, the new frontiers you've opened. It's about creating a future that was once unimaginable and making it real. It's about empowering others to dream bigger, to build bolder, to think beyond the conventional. It's about proving through action that the perceived limits of human achievement are nothing more than self-imposed illusions. So what are you building? What seemingly impossible problem is calling to you? What legacy will you forge in the fires of your ambition? The comfortable path leads to predictable outcomes. The path of the least resistance leads to mediocrity. But the path of the relentless creator, the audacious builder, the one who truly understands the master key to exponential wealth, that path leads to a future reshaped by your own hand. Do not merely consume the world, create it. Break the mold, defy the odds, embrace the impossible. The future is not a destination you arrive at. It's a canvas waiting for your brushstroke. What will you dare to paint? The time for consumption is over. The time for creation is now. Build, act, think beyond limits. The universe is waiting for you to make your mark.